Hi everyone, please subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you. In regard to the now apparently escalating feud between the malevolent orange manatee running the country, regrettably at the moment, and the billionaire man-child, I would say, first of all, something I've said in the past, and I have to say, being a student of political patterns, I think is 100% true. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, even if it's in the short term, and even if I dislike or even disdain both sides. That's not the point. The point is, someone is helping the cause through whatever means, then I'm going to be happy. And separately, I'm sure you know the adage, divide et impera, which means divide and conquer. You need these people fighting with one another if we hope to make progress in the right direction. However, if you then want to assess, okay, they're having a battle, who's likely to emerge as the winner? I would say first give it a couple of days. In the event that something I saw in their composite chart, namely they happen to have a very late composite sun in Gemini, which means Jupiter is going through there. So it's possible that in the next 48 hours, 72 hours, really near term, we get some kind of agreement, some kind of détente, something happens that changes the apparent trajectory right now, which is that the billionaire ketamine man seems really upset with the GOP, with the Trump administration, and you can say it's because they took away his Doge thing, or you can say it's because they didn't give him his electric vehicle tax credits in the big beautiful bill. Could be that, could be a combination of things, could be that that's true, plus he genuinely doesn't like all the debt the country is currently ensnared in, and through this bill would be made worse. So who knows? But if there is no détente, no significant change very soon, and I mean days, then the way this is going, if you are trying to assess who is likely to win this battle, then based on where the planets are, 100% Musk has the advantage. There's no question, because Jupiter, yeah, it goes through that composite point late in Gemini, maybe it saves the day, but really composites, I have to say that in my experience, they're always a level down from individual charts and how individual charts react to one another. That's first level. Next level is composites. And so because of that, in their respective charts, of the two of them, Jupiter is leaving Trump's sign, where it's been for a year. This planet has helped him a great deal to bring about more safety, literally walk him into the presidency, although I strongly suspect that's going to turn out to be the biggest mistake of his life. But the problem is that we all have to pay the price for it as well. In any case, it's leaving his sign and it's entering Musk's. And not only that, Musk happens to have an early Cancer sun by degree, so Jupiter is headed in that direction by the end of the month. And so he's definitely on the rising tide, on the ascendant tide, not the astrological ascendant, the sense of something being in ascendancy. Although, ironically, it's also Musk's ascendant because he happens to be a sun sign with a Cancer ascendant. So lots of Jupiter energy moving in, which is going to help him. And I have to say that noticing what's been happening, he is tweeting, Xing, whatever it's called these days, some really, really aggressive statements toward the big beautiful bill, and then instead of toning it down, he's doubled down even more. And the only response from the Orange Abomination so far has been to issue one of his truth antisocial pseudo tweets in which he's showing that Musk thanked him for his time in government, and but he doesn't throw any insults in there as he usually would. His style is to call people sleazebags and worse, horrible things if he feels like he's on firm ground, which he obviously does not, and for good reason, because Musk happens to have a ton of money and a big, big platform. Notice that the statements he's made have garnered millions of views. In the case of the first one, well over 100 million views. The second one that I saw today is now moving up in that direction as well. The one where he says, call your congressman, kill the bill, all these awful Congress people need to be brought to account in the next election. This is really, really aggressive stuff. So, bottom line though, we go toward June 10th, Jupiter entering the president's 12th sign, which is not a good place. This is a totally different situation to having it in your sun sign in the 11th. That is much easier. This now becomes a lot harder. And the other factor that can be exacerbated through its movement into that house is this lurking thing in the background related to health and well-being, because that is the hospital house, and Jupiter, as important as it is to the president in the sense that in his life it has brought him many gifts, including being president and including being able to so skillfully separate people from their money. Well, that's the good side of the 8th house, the house of debt. He's leveraged debt all his life, and he's able to garner, steal literally, because he finds the least educated among us and tells them a story. They give him money. But that house is very dangerous. That planet, especially when you link it to real life factors, most especially your age. It's a fact that as we age, we're more vulnerable to health problems, and he's approaching 80. And so Jupiter going through there becomes an issue. And of course, if you then start adding other planets, such as the Uranus cycle, which is now late in Taurus, is squaring his Mars, which at minimum, by the way, will continue to make him act in erratic, unpredictable ways to the disadvantage of the American economy, obviously, because businesses don't know what to do. 25% today, 50% tomorrow, then he removes it, then he brings it back. This is very, very unhelpful toward bringing about any progress. But in the meantime, for him, it's also very self-destructive, very negative, and in terms of the battle with someone that he was, totally aligned with only a few months ago, it's a huge problem. He's going to have to navigate this very, very carefully, because if he is tempted to respond aggressively, and here's where, it gets pretty dicey in the near term as well, because Mars right now is in Leo, moving toward his own Mars at 26 degrees, and then the ascendant. And the typical way it always happens with him is if Mars pays him a visit, such as that, he gets belligerent, he gets bellicose, he gets more aggressive. And so what are the odds that he holds himself back? But to the extent that he gets this wrong, It's very possible that he will, because he no longer has the Jupiter help him out. Then, as we go toward the end of the month, that Jupiter gets inside that T-square of his, and it is almost certain to do terrible damage to the relationship he has with Musk and to everything else. And if you think, well, okay, but then it'll move, it'll pass. Oh, sure it does. But remember, next year, it's not going to be Jupiter going through those degrees. Then it's Saturn. And then it really comes home. And that also, by the way, in case we're wondering about Musk, because having said, yes, his situation is definitely stronger now. There's no question. If you're in a battle with him on any topic between now and, say, August, probably even September too, the amount of time that Jupiter is transiting through his Sun, ascendant Mercury, he has all the energy on his side. But he too, next year, faces the Saturn as it moves up to the top of his chart and will square those planets. Much like now, Jupiter is conjoining them, and Saturn squaring planets, that's a totally different thing. That's where you pay for your prior mistakes, and he's certainly made plenty of those as well. So bottom line, once again, I see all of this despite the overall negative nature to the country, because none of this is good for the U.S., obviously, but from the perspective of the immediate battle we're in, I still count it on the in the positive column. And once again, I remind people that the key is to do well in elections. And I keep noticing, they'll say, oh, the Democrats, they're very unpopular right now. But every time there's an election somewhere, it's either a clear victory or a total thumping, like what happened yesterday in South Carolina in a congressional race, apparently in a district that Kamala, it must be a predominantly Democratic district, but it is South Carolina. So Kamala won that by 6 points, I believe, in 2024. Well, in that battle yesterday, more than 40 points was the gap electing the Democrat. These are signals about where things are going as we go into future elections, ultimately culminating in 2026. And I'm not going to go say again what I've said in the past about the 2026 midterms, but I did notice a question about it in the channel. So without providing too much detail, I will say this. To me, it looks hugely problematic for the orange abomination. Hugely. Now that, of course, assumes that he gets to that point and he's able to actually engage in the political battle at that time.